In the whispering woods, love is not forbidden because it is weak. It is forbidden because it awakens something ancient, something that watches from the shadows between the trees, something that never lets lovers leave. And tonight, the forest has chosen again. The spirits did not move. They only watched from within the glowing trees, silent and endless, like memories trapped between worlds. Elian stared at the pale silhouettes surrounding the forest path, and for the first time since entering the whispering woods, the beauty around him began to feel wrong. The glowing lantern trees no longer looked magical. The whispers in the wind no longer sounded peaceful. The forest felt alive. A cold breeze moved through the silver branches as faint voices surrounded him from every direction. Leave, before it chooses you. Run. Elian turned slowly, unsettled by the voices echoing through the darkness. What are they? He asked quietly. Lira stood motionless beside the glowing river, her pale eyes fixed on the spirits drifting between the trees. Memories, she whispered. For a moment, silence filled the woods. Then softly, almost painfully, she continued. People who believed love was stronger than the forest. Most travelers would have run. Most would have turned back the moment they realized the legends were true. But Elian stayed. Not because he was fearless, but because for the first time in years, something inside him no longer felt empty. The deeper he walked beside Lira, the more the strange ache in his chest began to disappear, as if the forest had been waiting for him all along. Elian stepped closer to one of the glowing spirits trapped within the trees. Did they regret it? He asked softly. Lyra's expression darkened. They never got the chance to. The lantern trees suddenly flickered above them. A low rumble echoed beneath the earth. The woods had heard them. Every word, every heartbeat, every feeling left unspoken. Deep beneath the roots of the whispering woods, something ancient awakened. Elian looked around nervously as the glowing branches trembled overhead. What was that? Lira stepped back immediately, and for the first time since he met her, she looked afraid. You need to leave, she whispered urgently. Now. Elian frowned. You keep saying that, but you haven't told me why. Lyra's hands trembled faintly at her sides, not because she feared him, but because she feared herself. The longer Elian remained near her, the quieter the forest became, and that had never happened before. Without another word, Lira turned and walked deeper into the woods. Elian followed closely behind. The deeper they traveled, the stranger the forest became. The trees twisted upward like sleeping giants frozen in time. Silver flowers bloomed beneath their footsteps. The air shimmered with drifting lights that vanished whenever Elian reached toward them. And slowly, even the moonlight disappeared. Only the glow of the woods remained. At the center of the forest, hidden behind towering ancient roots, a lake appeared from the darkness. Its surface shimmered like liquid stars beneath the night sky. Elian stopped in awe. It's beautiful, he whispered. Lira stared quietly across the glowing water. This is where the forest keeps its promises. The lake suddenly brightened. Ripples spread slowly across the silver surface, and shadows began forming within the water. Two lovers appeared beneath the lantern trees, laughing softly, holding each other. For a brief moment they looked happy. Then slowly, their bodies began turning into light. Their forms dissolved into glowing particles until nothing remained except drifting stars sinking beneath the water. Elian stared in horror. They disappeared. Lira shook her head gently. No. Her voice barely rose above a whisper. The forest kept them. Silence filled the lake once more, but Elian was no longer looking at the water. He was looking at her. And you? He asked quietly. Lira froze. Have you ever loved someone? No one had asked her that question in centuries, because no one had ever stayed long enough to care about the answer. A soft sadness filled her silver eyes. Once, she whispered. The forest suddenly fell silent. Even the wind stopped moving through the trees. Elian stepped closer carefully. What happened? Elian narrowed his eyes toward the darkness. For a brief second he saw it, a tall figure standing motionless between the trees. Its shape twisted unnaturally, almost blending with the forest itself. Then it vanished. Did you see that? Elian whispered. Lira's face turned pale instantly. It found you. Elian looked at her in confusion. What found me? The Whispering Woods held far more than wandering spirits and ancient magic. Something older lived within the forest, something that protected the rule no one was ever meant to break. Branches suddenly twisted violently overhead. Roots burst from the ground around them. The entire forest began to shake. Lira grabbed Elian's hand without thinking. Run. The moment their hands touched, the forest screamed. A deafening cry echoed through the woods as glowing lights flickered wildly around them. Trees bent unnaturally. Shadows moved between the fog. The whispers transformed into desperate cries carried by the wind. The forest had felt it. The beginning. Elian and Lira ran together through the glowing darkness as roots tore through the ground behind them. Yet neither of them let go. Not even once. And with every heartbeat, the bond between them grew stronger, more dangerous, more impossible to escape. Finally, the trees opened into a hidden clearing at the edge of the forest. Before them stood an enormous stone gate covered in silver vines and forgotten symbols glowing faintly beneath the mist. The ruins looked older than the forest itself. Lira stopped immediately. Fear filled her eyes. Elian stared up at the massive gate in disbelief. What is this place? Lyra's voice trembled softly. The place where the rule began. As soon as the words left her lips, the gate slowly began opening on its own. A freezing wind escaped from the darkness beyond. No one had opened the ancient gate for hundreds of years, but tonight the forest had chosen otherwise. From deep within the darkness, a voice whispered softly, Lira. Her eyes widened in terror, because she recognized the voice immediately. The past had awakened, and it remembered her name. In the Whispering Woods, love is never forgotten, and neither are the ones it takes.